السلام عليكم.
Talk about one part in Prep 1 first term curriculum, which is Unit 3, Lesson 1, which is called Cells and Life. This particular curriculum includes 4 different units. And during this unit, you will learn more about the living organisms and their structure. So during this lesson, inshallah, you will learn more about cells and life. But first of all, I need you to look at this small girl and how she uses this small pieces or blocks to build a complete building or a complete castle. Without these small blocks, she wouldn't be able to build a castle. نفس فكرة لما أنا أجي أبني any building. We need or we use the bricks. بستخدم الطوب and we arrange them together. ببدأ أرتب كده الطوب جنب بعضه. أو يعني the construction buildings, the construction workers, they build by using the bricks. So they arrange, بيبدأوا يرتبوا كده الطوب جنب بعضه to make one complete building. So just like this simple toy building blocks, also in all living creatures' bodies, all of them, if they are humans, animals, or even plants, all living creatures' body consists of very, very small part, which can be also called the smallest. Not the small, not the smaller, the smallest. أصغر حاجة, the smallest, which is known as the cell. So, the cells or the building blocks of life or the building blocks of all living creatures. يعني it's just the smallest part in their bodies, which build up all the organism, just like the brick. زي ما الطوبة هي أصغر حاجة that builds up all the building اللي بتبني كل المبنى أو كل العمارة دي. Also, the cell is the smallest structural unit in any living creature. هي أصغر حاجة هي اللي بتبني all this organism. Okay, so if you are talking about one type of cell, of course there are different types of cells, different shapes of cells. بس أنا دلوقتي I'm talking about the cells that builds up the digestive system. So there is one cell. When one cell is just collected with another cells, they form one tissue. And when the one tissue is collected with a group of tissues, they form one organ, just like the stomach. And this one organ, الجزء ده بس, when it's just collected with another organs, like the esophagus, like the small intestine, the large intestine, it forms the digestive system. And when the digestive system, which appears in this diagram, is being collected with another systems, like the circulatory system, the nervous system, the urinary system, they form one complete organism. So finally, we can just define, or we can just say that all living creatures' bodies consist of five levels of complexity. The simplest level of complexity, أبسط level خالص, which is the cell. And when it becomes just like more complicated, يعني group of cells خلاص هي بقت يعني more complicated, just one step becomes a tissue. When the tissue become more just complicated, بقى خلاص complicated أكتر one step كمان, it forms organ. طب الorgan when it become more complicated, it forms a system, and the systems finally forms one complete body. So the 5 levels of complexity can be determined as body, system, organs, tissues, and cells. Repeat after me. Body, system, organs, tissues, and cells. Body, system, organs, tissues, and cells. So the body consists of group of systems. Each system consists of group of organs. Each organs consists of group of tissues, and each tissue consists of group of cells. So now we agreed what's meant by the cell. The cell is the smallest structural and functional unit in any living organism. يعني هي the cell that forms, that build up the body، هي اللي بتكون الجسم، and it makes all the vital processes، وهي المسؤولة عن all the vital functions, all different functions، وهنتكلم عن النقطة دي تاني. But first of all خلينا نرجع كده للليسن تايتل. هو كان ايه اصلا؟ cells and life. So what is the relation between them? What's the relation between the cells and the whole life? When the cells becomes at the highest level of complexity, cell form tissue, the tissue forms organ, the organ forms system, the system form an organism. So when the organisms interacted with another organism of the same species من نفس النوع, they form population. طب ما احنا we will never interact with the same species only. We will interact with another species مع فصائل تانية. So it forms a community. And finally, when all different organisms interact with each other, they form which is known as biosphere. Or, in more simple words, it forms the life. So there is a direct relation between the existence of cells and the existence of the whole complete life. And just like I said, cells are the simplest structural and functional units in all living organisms. طيب يعني هي simplest part فهمناها دي. طب structural units يعني ايه structural units؟ من كلمة structure. يعني ايه structure؟ تركيب. يعني هي اللي بتكون all living organism that builds up the organism. طب يعني ايه functional unit؟ يعني السيلة الصغيرة جدا دي اللي فيه منها billions of cells in the adult body طبعا، مالها بقى؟ هي دي اللي بتperform all different functions, all different jobs. هي اللي بتعمل كل وظائف جسمك, all the vital processes. Just like growth, when the cell divides, just like in this following or in this opposite diagram, يعني ايه divides? One cell to become two cells. كده حصل division. The two cells become two new cells or four new cells. They divide. طيب it causes what? It causes growth. Like the small baby or the small child, or the baby become a child and then the child become an adult. Or in plants also, when the plant grow, or how plant grow أصلا. يعني the plant grows up. How? The plant cells keep dividing. So when the plant cell divides, what happens? Just the plant become from a teeny tiny small plant into a tall plant or large plant. يعني when the cell divides, its number increases. عددهم بيزيد، فتلاقي الأورجانيزم أو الcreature ده حصل له إيه؟ يعني حصل له growth. Also want healing. مش بس كده، أنا لما يبقى عندي جرح مجروحة في إيدي هنا what happens؟ يعني إيه wound؟ يعني إيه هنا في جرح؟ يعني there is like damaged cells or dead cells. So these damaged cells حصل أنا محتاجة إيه for this wound or wound to be healed؟ أنا محتاجة إيه اللي يحصل هنا؟ number of cells ده يزيد. ليه؟ عشان يقفل الجرح. So in here wound healing is just also done by the cell division. يبقى أنا دلوقتي اتكلمت عن إيه؟ two different processes like the growth or even the wound healing, which is done by the cell. And also different vital processes which are very important for the continuity of life، عشان الحياة continue تكمل يعني تستمر. Just like nutrition اللي هي just eating food, growth, respiration. So all these vital processes are done by the cell. So we can say, or we can define the cell as the basic structural unit, not just the structure, but also the functional unit. يعني هي مش بس اللي بتbuild up the human body or the animal's body or the plant's body، لا هي كمان اللي responsible عن all different functions or all different jobs that the body make. Now you need to understand what's meant by classification. بس لو أنا قلت إن الكلاسيفيكيشن دي معناها تصنيف، يعني أديني ترجمتها، ما أظنش إنك هتستفيد أي حاجة. طيب if I said that classification means arrangement، يعني أول ما أقول كلمة classification دي يجي في دماغك على طول إيه؟ arrangement، هي كلمة واحدة. So if I need to classify group of living organisms, so I will look on their similarities and differences. هبدأ أشوف what's similar between them and what's difference between them. تمام. طيب if I have group of living organisms مالهم بقى that can live in water, just in water, so most of them will be called as aquatic creatures or just fishes. طب if I have a group of living organisms who can live in both water and on land, so that they will be called as amphibians. طيب if they give birth, so they will called as mammals. طب lay eggs, they will be called as birds. So classification means مفروض دلوقتي تقول لي ايه؟ arrangement. يبقى لما اقول classification عايزاك تقول لي ايه؟ arrangement. So classification equals arrangement. هرتب بقى اي حاجة، عارف؟ حتى لو هترتب الدولاب بتاعك، هدوم الخروج لوحدها، هدوم البيت لوحدها، this is called classification, just like in library. So the classification is the arrangement of living organisms into groups based on their properties، اللي هو يعني based on their similarities, differences, to facilitate their study and identification. طيب دلوقتي هنبدأ we will start to classify living organisms according to concept مهم جدا which is known as the number of cells. number of cells يعني هتفرق طبعا. there are group of organisms أو يعني خلينا نقول a group of organisms مالهم بقى their bodies all its body consists of كل الجسم عبارة عن ايه؟ هو الأورجانيزم كله is just present in one small cell like this cell, the bacterial cell. This is the bacterial cell, and like this one يعني the first group their bodies consist of one cell, so they are called what? unicellular organism. طيب خليني اقول لك ان uni means one. طب cellular from the word cell يعني all their bodies consist of unicellular يعني one cell. So there is one cell. انت بقى اللي هتجاوبني على السؤال ده. There is one cell that performs all different vital processes. طب ده زي ايه vital او important processes دي؟ كل بقى البروسيس اللي انت بتعملها زيها زيك بالظبط. nutrition يعني getting energy from the needed food، يعني البوديز بتاعتهم is able to do different kinds of activities like movement. تمام. طيب ايه كمان؟ nutrition، لا انا قلتها. طيب excretion movement، يعني انا عندي one cell that can perform different functions. So in this case this one cell, the unicellular organism, will be called as unspecialized organism. طب انت عارف يعني ايه specialized؟ طب لما اجي اقول unspecialized اقصد بيها ايه او معناها ايه؟ that there is one cell هي غير متخصصة. unspecialized هي one cell that can perform all different kinds of functions. تمام؟ يعني احنا inside our bodies there is one cell that perform أو that helps our body to support the body, another cell to help in transferring nerve messages and so on. حلو. طب in here I'm talking about one simple cell that can perform all different kind of functions. بتعمل كل حاجة. بتعمل nutrition، بتعمل growth، بتعمل movement، كل حاجة. طيب so it's called unspecialized، مش متخصصة، هي بتعمل كل حاجة. طيب this is the first type of creatures of organisms. The second type of living organisms is called a multicellular organisms. طب لو unicellular I said uni means one. طب multicellular the word multi means many or multiple, like this diagram. Can you see this one? Is it one cell or group of cells? This in here there is a group of cells that forms an organ. So then the organ forms systems, so then group of systems forms body. So in here there is another kind of organisms which is called multicellular organisms, which is relatively large in size, and these cells are specialized cells. يعني ايه specialized؟ يعني كل cell ليها function بتاعتها. Each cell has its own function. يعني مش cell واحدة بس بتعمل كل حاجة، لا. There is one cell that helps the body to be supported, another cell that helps the body to transmit nerve messages, and there's another cells that help the body to excrete the excretory substances, and so on. So the unicellular organisms, there are organisms that are small in size, and they are just like bacteria, paramecium, and amoeba. These organisms, their body just consists of just one cell, while the multicellular organisms, just like the human, the plant, the animals, طبعا kinds of plants, kinds of animals, like octopus. طيب احنا كده عملنا classification according to number of cells. والله كنت حابة أقول لك أنا مش هعيد، بس أنا هعيد. So classification means arrangement. فأنا من شوية we arranged، احنا رتبنا خلاص living organisms into two groups, unicellular and multicellular. According to ايه؟ according to number of cells. طب أنا هنا عايزة أعمل classification بس according to the structure of the nucleus. طيب هو في نوعين من النيوكليوس؟ أيوة، بس خليني أفكرك، أو لو أنت already فاكر. يا سلام يا سلام. بس النيوكليوس it's the brain of the cell. هي ال brain of the cell، هي يعني the main control center of the cell. هي اللي من غيرها خلاص مش هنعرف نعمل حاجة السيل دي، ولا هتعرف تعمل أي حاجة. طيب في two types of nucleus. yes, two types of nuclei، لأن nucleus الجمع بتاعها مش nucleusis. مش حاجة اسمها كده، nuclei. طيب there are two different kinds. يعني لو أنا عندي living organism like this one, just look. هل انت شايف هنا في nucleus أو nuclear membrane؟ لا. طب in here on the other organism شايف في هنا ايه؟ like structure seems like it's the nucleus. طيب so there are two kinds of living organisms. One of them lack nucleus، يعني there is no nucleus inside this kind of organism, and the other kind of organism the nucleus is found inside them. So there are prokaryotic organisms or prokaryotes and eukaryotic organisms or eukaryotes. The prokaryotes, the word karyotes is repeated. لو خدت بالك كاريوت اتكررت مرتين. prokaryote eukaryote. فكاريوت هنا معناها ايه؟ it means nucleus. تمام. طيب برو بقى معناها ايه؟ برو means false. فلو شلت برو كتبت false so ايه هتبقى ايه؟ false nucleus. يعني لما اقول prokaryotic organism I'm talking about the organisms that lack nucleus أو that contains false nucleus. طب if we are talking about eukaryotic organism, أنا قلت means إيه بقى؟ true. وكاريوت هي nucleus. So means true. So the second kind of organisms, the organisms that contain true nucleus, which are called eukaryotes.
كابتن هو كله ضرب مفيش شتيمة ولا ايه؟